On a brisk spring morning in Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood, a small brick storefront on 47th Street hums with the quiet rhythm of transformation. Inside, under soft yellow light, and shelves lined with sculpted busts, vases and bowls, a woman named Ava Jordan leans over her wheel, coaxing form out of wet clay. Her hands move with a practiced grace, strong, steady, sure. Ava is 37, wears oversized tortoiseshell glasses and denim overalls flecked with gray slip. Her voice is calm, her laugh slow and intentional, like someone who has learned to take her time in a world that's always rushing. She's the owner of Earth Plus Fire, a community ceramics studio that's as much a sanctuary as it is a business. Ava's work is artful and honest. Her pieces often resemble ancestral African shapes, long necks, wide bases, surfaces etched with abstract patterns that echo Kente cloth or Yoruba motifs. But more than objects, Ava sees clay as a kind of memory, a keeper of stories. And for her, that's the point. Want people to remember where they come from, she says, motioning to a bust of a woman with her head wrapped high. Even if they've never been there. Her studio has become a refuge for Black artists, elders, and teenagers navigating trauma. It's where a grandmother might tell a high schooler about 1968, or a newly widowed man finds peace-shaping bowls in silence. Through workshops, conversations, and kilns, Ava is nurturing something that reaches far beyond pottery. But Ava didn't always see herself as an artist or a healer. Her journey from the daughter of a steel worker to a cultural guardian was anything but smooth. Ava grew up on the South Side in the late 80s, the daughter of Clifton Jordan, a third-generation steelworker, and Marla, a public school librarian. Her house smelled of ink, collard greens, and rust. Her father's boots left black smudges on the floor. Her mother's fingers were always stained with highlighter. Clifton was quiet but warm, a man who spoke with his hands. On weekends, he built birdhouses from scrap and taught Ava to hammer nails without bending them. Marla, by contrast, filled their home with books. Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston, Audre Lorde. Ava would lie on the carpet for hours, her fingers tracing the embossed titles. But it was her grandfather, Ava Jordan, who planted the first seed. A former Pullman porter turned amateur sculptor, Eli had a makeshift studio in his garage. He called clay the earth's breath. When Ava was 8, he handed her a lump of red clay and told her to make a bowl. It collapsed, and she cried. He laughed and said, "Try again, baby. Even broken things hold." Eli died when Ava was 12. She didn't touch clay again until college. Instead, she chased a more practical path, studying urban planning at DePaul, trying to be what her mother called a Black woman with options. But clay lingered in the back of her mind like an unsung melody. After college, Ava landed a city job overseeing development grants. The work was stable, respectable, but draining. She'd walk past blighted lots and think about gardens, murals, possibilities. But her job was paperwork, politics, compromises. Her hands felt idle, her spirit restless. Then in 2015, she received a call. Her childhood friend Marcus, a teacher at Diet High School, had been killed in a police altercation. The circumstances were murky, the press coverage thin. Ava spiraled, grief, fury, numbness. She took leave, unsure what to do with her pain. One day, she walked into a pottery class in Hyde Park. Just something to do. But the first time her fingers sank into clay again, she cried. For Marcus. For Illy. For everything she hadn't said and hadn't done. That night, she stayed up shaping pieces until her hands ached. It felt like prayer, like protest, like purpose. Soon, pottery became her outlet and then her anchor. She began showing pieces at pop-ups. Local elders took notice. Youths from the neighborhood stopped by her table, curious. In 2017, she left her city job and poured her savings and heart into an abandoned storefront near where her father used to catch the bus to the mills. Earth's fire opened that fall. At first, business was slow. Ava taught free workshops to kids after school, sold mugs at farmers' markets, and cleaned the studio herself each night. Her father, now retired, helped her install shelves and lights. Her mother donated books for a reading nook. The neighborhood watched, cautious but intrigued. Then something shifted. A local muralist began using her studio for artist talks. A nonprofit hosted healing circles there. Ava invited elders to lead storytelling nights, offering them hand-thrown teacups in return. Slowly, Earth Fire became a heartbeat in Bronzeville. During the George Floyd protests, the studio became a heaven. People came in, furious and grieving, molding their anguish into art. Ava led grief glazing sessions, silent hours where the only sound was spinning wheels and soft music. Teens who'd lost cousins or classmates began showing up after school, finding solace in routine. Ava started a community kiln fund, raising money so anyone could fire their work, regardless of income. She began traveling to speak at conferences about art as resistance, about clay as reclamation. But she always returned home, back to Bronzeville, back to her wheel. Now, nearly a decade since she pressed her first bowl as an adult, Ava sits in her studio surrounded by student work. Some are lopsided, others delicate. All are treasured. A shelf bears the inscription, "Even broken things hold." It's a quiet homage to Ali and to herself. Ava's story isn't just about art, it's about place. About what it means to carve beauty from absence, to shape legacy from loss. Through her hands, she's preserving more than craft. She's teaching generations to remember themselves. In a city that often forgets its black artists, Ava's clay remembers. In a society that rushes past grief, her studio slows time. Her work is a challenge and a comfort to mold, to mend, to mean something. When people come in here, Ava says, her fingers smoothing a new bowl's rim, I want them to feel like they belong. Like they were always meant to make something that matters. And in Bronzeville, where steel mills once roared and dreams were forged in fire, the clay between her fingers is telling stories that might otherwise be lost.